Let's talk horror. Hi, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. So I recently put a poll up asking what you would like to see from me next, and it was between novellas or my top horror books updated, and horror books won. So let's talk about them. Kicking things straight off is a short horror that you are most definitely going to finish in one night, if you're brave enough. It is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Bayron. Now this is short, but it really does pack a punch. Absolutely love the cover. I love a cartoon, like animated style cover. It always draws my attention in. But this title as well, You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, it just feels like your classic slasher film in a book, and it is exactly what you're gonna get. So it follows a young girl called Charity, and she has the job of her dreams. She works at a summer camp where they reenact those classic horror films like Scream, and she plays the final girl. Now it's all fun, it's a laugh, the guests pay to have this experience. It's a lot of fun for everyone until the last weekend of the summer, where Charity's co-workers start disappearing and then one ends up dead. And that is where I'm gonna pull you in. This is where Kaylin Bayron pulls you in, and you will not be able to put this one down. It's a top horror book of mine for a reason. I am not usually one for like a gory horror. I'm more on the side of a paranormal horror, a haunted house. But this one was such an exception. It is catered towards like a YA audience. So you're not gonna have like really gruesome gore, but there is still a hint in there. I would suggest, if you are quite sensitive to like that subject, just check trigger warnings and prepare yourself. But it's not gonna make you feel sick. If you watch horror films that have like a slightly slasher aspect, then you'll love this one and you'll be in for such a wild ride. Next up on the subject of paranormal horror is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. Now this name is really big within the horror fans, but this was my first read of his and I thoroughly enjoyed this one. So we follow a woman named Maggie, and she basically goes back to her childhood home, where one night when she was younger, the whole family had to flee in the middle of the night, and her dad ended up writing a whole book about the paranormal experiences that they witnessed and lived through. So Maggie doesn't actually believe in ghosts, so she believes her dad's book is a work of fiction until she moves back and things start to happen where she may start to believe in the truth within what she believed was a work of fiction by her dad. This is full of twists and turns where you'll be sure to have the shiver run up your spine. This book is so atmospheric, it's very addicting, it won't take you long to read. It didn't take me too long. If you've read The Haunting of Hill House, then I definitely recommend picking this one up. Next up we have The Bird Eater by Anya Allburn. We're taking a sinister turn with this one. Definitely check all trigger warnings with this one. It is very heavy in certain points in the book, so just protect yourself going into these darker books. So we follow a guy named Aaron Holbrook. Where he's very young, his aunt died very mysteriously, which ended with him having to live in foster care. He vowed to never return to his childhood home in Arkansas. Is that how you say it? Arkansas? Anyway, 20 years later, his son tragically dies, and to save his marriage, he moves back to the house where he wants to save his marriage, save himself from alcoholism, but there's something waiting for him in the house, which is very sinister. He finds out the people in the town refer to his home as the Devil's Den, and he finds dead birds outside, hence the title. This one is very unnerving, very creepy and quite bleak at times, but it is a good one to pick up and to really creep you out. This one ticks all those boxes. To a classic haunting is Haunted by James Herbert. Now, if you're after a really classic haunted house, thrill of a ride, this one is for you. Now, I know Stephen King absolutely loves James Herbert, and this is the only book I've read of his, and I can see why Stephen King loves him so much. I devoured this one. It was well written, atmospheric, and it really kept me guessing at points, and some points just really shocked me and actually scared me, like made me jump, which is so unheard of reading a book. Like, because in horror films you have the music that really is a big contributor to when it's going to make you jump, but to be actually scared and to be physically made jump by a book is just absolutely crazy. But this one did it, and this is why it is in my top horror books. It's very well paced, and you will be unable to put this one down until you figure out what is happening. I'm just going to read the back for you because it is such a brilliant summary of what the story is, and I feel like it really builds the tension for you. So it is 3 nights of terror at the house called Edbrook. 3 nights in which David Ash, there to investigate a haunting, will be a victim of horrifying and maleficent games. 3 nights in which he will face the blood-chilling enigma of his own past. 3 nights before Edbrook's dreadful secret will be revealed and the true nightmare will begin. Remember with fear. Oh my god, that is the best back of the book that I have ever read. Like, please, if that hasn't pulled you in and you haven't immediately added that to your TBR and you are a big horror fan, then I don't know what will. This should be on your TBR immediately, and I want everyone in the comments to let me know that this is on your TBR and you have purchased this immediately. I've also seen that this is a movie, which I was completely unaware of, so I will be watching that immediately, most likely tonight once I've finished filming this video for you. Last but not least is The Watchers by A.M. Shine. Now this has recently been made into a film, so you might possibly have read this or even seen the film beforehand, but I absolutely, again, I devoured this one. We start off the story by following Mina as she's driving and navigating through these dark country roads when all of a sudden her car dies and she's in the middle of nowhere. No signal on her phone, nowhere to be seen, until she hears a scream from within the forest next to her. Now, most of us would be like, no, I'm not gonna run into that forest. Pitch black, no signal. But obviously we wouldn't have a book if she didn't follow that scream. Mina knows better than to get out of that car, but here we are. If you love a fast-paced, creepy, unsettling atmosphere, please read this one. I also read a review where they described it as feeling claustrophobic, and I feel like that's so spot on in certain parts of this story. Like, your heart will be racing reading some of these scenes, and you'll be just page. You need to know what is going to happen. And the less I say about this story, the better for you and your experience reading it. And this is also going to be a series. This is the first one, and I cannot wait for the next lineup. And they were my top horror books. I can't even remember that the ones that I mentioned in the original video. Probably should have watched that first before making this one, but I know if not all of them, a few of those will not be in that one, and hopefully I've described them a hell of a lot better. Fingers crossed. Another few honourable mentions are The Shining and Schrader's Chord, but I know I've already spoken about them in only a couple of videos back, so I didn't want to be repeating myself too much for you when you've already heard my thoughts and feelings on those two. If you have any recommendations of really atmospheric, creepy, sleeping with the lights on horrors, specifically paranormal, I always love to read those. And let me know if you've read any of the books that I have just mentioned and what you thought about them too. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.